Thanks for staying with us. So, moving on now to our hot topic of today. So there's a phrase that lingers in various places, echoes through salons, slips through wedding speeches, resurfaces online and different places. People are saying that women who know their worth do not last in marriage. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with this? When I say know your worth, I mean that women who are confident in themselves, who know the value they bring to the table, many of them usually don't last in marriage. This is somebody's article we're reading. We're just trying to analyze the article to see how true it is. I think the article was written published 6 days ago. Author was Owubudu, Maureen. Maureen Owubudu was the author of this article. And we found it quite interesting. One of the things I like to quote, she said, too often, marriage is positioned as a prize for good behavior. Be quiet, be soft, be agreeable, be patient, tuck your ambition under your smile, dull your fire. Then maybe you'll be chosen. But if you are too loud, too ambitious, too opinionated, too independent, then you must be one of those women. And the reason why it resonated a bit was because I think I shared this story before. There was a guy that I was dating before my husband. I still saw him fairly recently. I didn't see him for a long time, and the only reason why this brother broke up with me, he said, "You're just too opinionated. You will not be submissive in marriage." He literally told me that I'm too opinionated. You're just saying, just speak your mind. So he felt that was a threat to him being a leader in his home. And I was shocked because I was just wondering what's wrong with this guy. I'm quite from a very, very opinionated family, but so that was his own reason, because you can't tame Imurayo. She's too opinionated. Now, he's probably seeing me today and wondering, how is that man handling her in the house? How is she? How is the man?
And she even brought it into TV.
So these are realities.
I wonder why a woman has to be handled. That statement I've heard is, how are you handling? How are you managing? Why do you need to handle and manage? Why do men feel the need to control? I want to marry a woman I can control. Why? So it will make you feel, it makes you feel like I'm more of a man if I have a woman. Sit down there, the woman sits down. Stand up, he stands up. Don't go to work today. No, sir. So it rubs off the ego of the man. But I just feel like we need to change how men see the idea of power. It's not about the fact that this woman obeys everything I say, but the fact that I have a strong woman who is willing to hear me out, argue it out with me, and I am stimulated by our conversation to think differently. I'm stimulated by our conversation to grow, to see more opportunities and possibilities, that I'm not stuck in the way this is how I've always done it. I've heard questions like, when I was growing up, we eat amala and ewedu and megiri and like this. No, it's not really fresh, like this. Like we eat it with fish, not with meat. Can we try with meat? No, we eat it with fish. That's how and as a man, in my house, we will eat it with fish. Wow. Like the little things. So this conversation, this article by Maureen really made me feel like we're not having a conversation about, it's beyond the fact that women who know their worth will not last in marriage. Is that we don't have a society that accepts women who know their worth. It's not accepted. If you know your worth, once you begin to sound like a confident person, marriage counselors, aunties and uncles in the community will start telling you, calm down, you cannot drive that kind of big car, you cannot go and buy a house, you're still single. Because once you come across like a bold, confident woman, you are a threat to men. So we don't have a society that accepts bold, confident women.
Interesting.
For me, I would like to start from history. I've been reading a lot lately on just how things used to be done in ancient times. Of course, not African, but just white people and how they live, because those are the documentations that we have a lot more of. And for me, I noticed that we women were like pets. We were just one of the animals in the house. So there were livestock that were in the farm.
Horses.
Then you had domesticated, was maybe like a dog and a cat, and then we were just a little bit priced above the other pets. That was really how we were seen. So we were owned. And for a man to be a man, he has to be able to own and control and determine how this woman or this pet is. So that's where we're coming from, right? We have now gotten to a point where the woman has evolved, society has evolved, the woman is seen more as a human being, she's making decisions, she's empowered. But for some reason, that evolution for the woman has gone on so much faster than it has for the men. So yes, we have a group of men now who would say to you, I'm unlike my father or my grandfather. I understand that a woman should work. I'm so proud of my woman and everything. And we're excited about them, especially when you're dating them. Until then you marry them. Then you see who they truly are. Then they remind you, I'm an African man. we were having conversations and we're bantering about this. When did it happen? So really, I don't know, is it physiology or is it just nurturing or is it a combination of both? That men actually, I feel that they are their happiest if they feel that they own a woman. Yes, they love you. Yes, they want to support you, but they want you to also know that I gave you the permission. That because I supported you, if you're doing it outside of him, outside his support, then he doesn't really have control over you. There are a few men now, I know a few of them are going to call to argue and say, I'm not one of them. And that's one thing I noticed. The people that come on tables like this and call on TV, they are never part of them. It's when we go home that we meet these people. So yes, I feel that there are people who with education and exposure, they are making the difference, but it's still very much part of how men see themselves. And you know why I say this? We have much younger men now who are dating, and I'm hearing women have the same issues. So there's exposure, there's new information, there's new knowledge. Why are they still like that? So what is it? Maybe, from when we have these conversations, I want us to now start thinking in a way that, is it that the men are flawed or that we have the wrong expectations of what men are or what men should be in a marriage or in a union?
Okay, so I totally agree with her because from the question you just asked right now, I think society plays a big role in this, and upbringing. Upbringing. If you men have grown in a society where they see that a woman, if you don't dare to dream, if you dream, it's not possible because the man will always clamp it. I know of a lady who went to school together. She very intelligent Hausa girl like this. She's very intelligent. She studied medicine, and she finished and she started her housemanship. She got married. She started going, to work and everything. And after some time, the husband now said that, no, that he cannot be sleeping alone in the nights without his wife. You can imagine that he cannot be sleeping alone. No, that he doesn't want her to continue. He doesn't want her to continue with the doctor or whatever. Yes, because that she goes out, when she has night duty. He said no, that he doesn't want it. That he now told her that she should go and meet them in the hospital, that she should put her daytime. And she was like, I'm not the only one that is a Muslim there, and I'm not the only one that is a doctor and married. He said no, that he's not going to agree and everything. And at the end of the day, they took this case home to her parents. She was like, that she cannot quit and everything. They took the thing to the parents. Guess what? The parents agreed and said, your marriage is more important than your career. That was how this medicine career, intelligent babe. She spent, those days when we were in school, you find out that people who went to read medicine, you find out that they just spent maybe 11 years. She spent 7 years, 6 years and one. Yes, she had one extra year, but she spent very intelligent, smart girl. Do you know that as I speak to you right now, she's still at home? That career just died like that. And that is it. Okay. So I agree with her that if a woman knows her worth, her marriage will not go forward.
I have to play the devil's advocate here because it's important for us to see the other side. But let's go to a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Don't play devil's advocate.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still having this conversation. And the reason why it's important to always play the devil's advocate because it's important to see the other side of the story. Some might argue that in life, there's hierarchy to everything. Things happen this way. There's always somebody to lead in every situation. Even companies have a managing director, have a deputy, have workers. Everybody has their opinion and has their job description. If you see yourself as a managing director and then you now have somebody who's supposed to be your second in command, but now wants to wear the shoe as a managing director, there will be fight. There's always going to be that. So for you to have a successful company, it's not because your vice president might not know better than you, or be smarter than you, or have more exposure, but there are certain areas that the vice president has to also stoop and allow the leader to make certain decisions. I think that's also what is expected. People who have that the perception in marriage that I am the leader in this house. If I'm my wife, yes, I know you're smart, you're exposed, you have all the information, but sometimes allow me lead. Now, in order to have a successful home, women are therefore sometimes expected to somewhat subsume their own thoughts, their feelings, their aspirations for the greater good, meaning that for my husband to be successful, this company to be very successful, I need to not remind him that I'm a Harvard graduate, not remind him that I am this, although he might be
in need of those
he might be, yes, I'm just saying that, let's look at it like that. So that might be the reason why some of these men feel like both of us cannot continue to be the anchor of this.
No, I strongly, I do agree with hierarchy.
Yes.
I do also agree with leadership. I believe that for anything to thrive, there must be detailed job description-ish. But you know, as you were speaking, it just occurred to me to search honor versus obedience.
Okay.
And the truth is, what marriages need is strong sense of honor. There's obedience in honor, but it is not compelled. It is earned. It is earned. It's a typical response to, like, I respect you, I hold you in high esteem, I honor you.
Yes.
It's not like I'm now.
It's earned.
Yes. No, it's not even just about the earning. It's not subservient. It's not like obey. I'm just complying with everything you say. It is the honor part that we need to help marriages to understand. Now, I'm not playing devil's advocate, but I feel like both women that know their self-value are also reacting to trauma of what they've seen happen before in working out, because they don't see how they can resolve issues. And we have many men rarely willing to go through the process of growing. A strong woman and a strong man cannot have a successful marriage if they don't go through counseling therapy to drop the baggages they have in the past. Because the average strong woman has heard stories of that auntie, that uncle, that person that gave it all up for the marriage and has nothing after. So when
she has her guards up.
She has her guards up.
Yes.
So it's a lot of traumatic reaction.
I was going to take you to that point where there are lots of women who, yes, you paint the picture of the nice woman who is intentionally subservient. But there are some that they are intentionally subservient, but it actually bites them back. And that's why it's important for us also to highlight those also. But let me take this call. I'll come to you, Mariam. Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
We can hear you, sir. Go ahead, please.
Hello. I must say that you ladies are doing a great work.
Thank you.
More powers to your elbow, indeed. And to my sister beside Sister Morayo, I love your hairstyle. You have to respond. I love your hairstyle.
Thank you.
Yes. Let me just comment on this topic. There are women who know their worth don't last in marriage. Well, there's an iota of truth in it. And but it depends, really. Let me use myself as an example. When I got married, that was 2017, I was doing some things in which myself I knew I wasn't getting it right. I was doing some things that I didn't want my wife to know. But eventually she knew. Let me just say it, I was drinking, I was smoking, which I ought not to be doing. But she did not. If it were to be other ladies or other women, I know what they would do. But even when we were talking yesterday, she still reminded me of those days that, Fanny, can you remember I stayed with you, I counseled you when you were doing all those things. But to some other ladies, they might not do that. They will say, no, you don't want me to do this. Instead, they too, they might be drinking and doing other things as well, claiming that they have equal rights. It is not so. Men want a sense of humor. Men want a bit of, that's Nigeria. No, men want a bit of control. They want to have that control over women. That is what I feel.
Thank you very much, Alabaja, for your views.
Mariam said it earlier. It's in nature. It's in our nature, in the environment.
Yes. But also, I just wanted to say, I think the problem is what men define or see as leadership. Because it's a woman who knows her worth. I mean, the term power couple is supposed to be for two strong people. We are both intelligent, both are financially good or in business. Like, you know, we are known individually and respected individually for the things that we do. And then when we come together to make a power couple, and we have power couples, and they're doing well, you know, and amazing, and they're finding ways to support themselves. And for me, it means that there has to be a form of leadership that works. There is the head of the home, you know, and there are things that maybe that person, that head of the home, there are decisions that head of the home takes. But he must take it in consideration of who he's leading. He must take it knowing that he's being fair to who he's leading. Because a woman who knows her worth will recognize when you are trying to cheat her, will recognize when you are being unkind, you know, and she will speak up for her rights. Do you understand? So for me, it's the problem now is not the person that knows their worth, it's you that you're the leader. How are you leading this person? How are you carrying yourself? Are you an honest, kind person? Are you thinking of the whole picture or just thinking about yourself? Are you being selfish? Are you being jealous? I know some men may not want to acknowledge this, but there have been points where a man would say to you, when we started, I took care of everything, I paid her fees, I did this, and now she has money, she's acting up. And then when you sit down and have the conversation with both of them or with the other party, it's not that there's an acting up, it's that you recognize that there's a man now who feels helpless because what he thought was his strength, was his power, isn't there anymore. So what am I supposed to show? How am I supposed to be the man in this relationship when the things I used to bring, she can give them? So he now needs to sit with his partner and discuss how to go about it, how that he can still be the man in the house while recognizing what else that what else and what the strength that she has that she brings to the table.
Why do men seem to like to date a woman who knows her worth, even cheat with her, because the woman in the house probably doesn't know her worth. So you're fine, you like her there, you prefer her just to be like that. But when you want to cheat, you don't cheat with your kind of wife. You can't cheat with that woman who knows exactly what her worth is. The woman, managing director of a bank, the woman who's such a high flyer is who you're attracted to. So you like to date her. She makes you look good. You have the power couple feel with her. But when it now comes to homely and domestic needs, you don't want her.
Okay,
you
so let me
want the mommy in the house.
Yes. Okay, so let me answer that question. Let me answer that question.
I'll let you answer in a second. But this has a holding. Obi from Ajana, I'll come back to you.
That word was
Obi, thanks for calling. You're live.
All right, thank you very much. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I must appreciate you for what you are doing. I've been following.
Thank you,
concerning this motion in front of me, women who know their worth don't last in marriage are true. Well, to me, I don't really think it's true because it should be women who know their worth and are married to wrong men. Because knowing your worth is a big deal that every woman must first work with before you go setting into marriage, because that should be your compass for your choice of a life partner. So knowing your worth is a great because it should not even be advised as a young lady before you go into marriage. First of all, understand yourself, know what you have been ordained to become before going there. So your choice of a life partner should be based on you knowing your worth, because it's Christ.
Obi, let me slightly disagree with you a bit, or not disagree. It's not a realistic comment, Obi, because as a young woman, sometimes they tell you to know who you are, find yourself. You think you are, but the truth is you can never really find yourself until really you go through life. So as a young 22-year-old, you're getting married, you really don't know. So when you say find the person that is good, you will marry who is available at who you are at that moment. Well, you're not growing to maturity in your 30s, in your mid-40s. You're a different person.
I got you there, man. So let me balance it like this. It's very essential. It's very even if you know your worth as you go through. Like it's very essential. You marry who you know. You marry your friend, basically. Like me, my wife is a nurse. And I can count the number of, let me not say I can't even count the number of days I will sleep in the house without her. She will go to work, she will stay, or sometimes she stays there for days. I'll be in the house. Just like now we have the child, we have the baby. I will be the one to bath the child, take care of the child, feed him before she comes back. So no issue. So to me, I don't think women who know their worth don't last in marriage. I don't think so. It depends on who you are married to.
Thank you.
So because you understand. So I wanted to answer that question that you asked. So most importantly, the truth is that, the wife, you've known her for a very long time. You have been growing, so you know the good, the bad, everything about her. But the girl outside, you're just going there, you're giving her maybe 4 hours or 3 hours of your best time. Chitu, she's bringing in her own best, 3 hours, 4 hours of her own best time. Because after some time, all of you will go back to, to reality and everything. But that 4 hours of good time is what you are attracted to outside. And that's what takes the man outside. So for me, I would say this, coming back to what we were discussing earlier, I'll come back and I'll say that, okay, so most importantly, we need to have wisdom. The woman needs to have wisdom in handling things. Yes, okay, so most women are ambitious and maybe you have a dream, there are goals you want to meet. We should always recognize that the Nigerian man, there's that ego. It's there. You understand? There's that ego that, when a woman starts making money, there's a way she's going to start looking at me, there's a way there's going to be disrespect. It's the common thing that is in a lot of this thing. The only thing that we can do is to start changing it with the kids we are raising now. But that is the mentality that they have right from time.
Let me give you an example.
So we need wisdom to understand. Yes, we need wisdom to understand them and play well.
When I was a young bride, a young woman, as a young woman, you tell yourself that if my husband doesn't give me gifts, it's okay, I can leave, I'm all right. You don't have to buy me value. You know how people are also about birthdays. I grew up to accept that birthdays are not that important. It's not a big deal because my husband wasn't a big birthday person. So I accepted it because I didn't know my worth. It was okay to have a birthday without being celebrated. It was okay to have something, everybody acknowledging it, or not to be pampered, or not to travel. In fact, before I got married, I used to travel. I said it before. But when I entered marriage, I had to submit to the fact that my husband said, you can't be traveling. We have not bought house, not bought car. What are you talking about? So I totally had to absorb myself into it. I said, Mariah, no more travel. Put the money aside. And I accepted the leadership that, okay, in this house, we can't do that now because we can't afford it. But now, I am in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. As I'm growing older, now I appreciate a gift. Before, it wasn't a big deal. Because as a submissive wife, if they don't give you gifts, are you going to go and say you don't want to divorce because they don't give you gifts? You mind your faith, mind your business. But now I know my worth. I say I deserve a gift. I deserve to be pampered. I deserve this. So I see things differently. Now, will I now say because I know my worth, I want to walk out of my marriage? It's a conversation I want to have.
So the conversation, and I'm sorry, my sim, I'm cutting into you, but I was having this conversation with someone and I said that when people come to a realization and so that, like as I said, trauma speaking. I don't have anything in my own name. Everything we have, we've done together. It is not you speaking. It is the aunties and everybody. Like you've come to that realization. True, you don't have anything in your name. So why are you scared about that? Because you feel, I've heard stories that the woman, she now was sent out of the house that the man built, she furnished, or house that the man bought the land, she did the building, but is in his name, so I have nothing in my name. So we are not reacting to the situation. We are reacting to the things we've heard. That the first reaction of a strong woman who doesn't feel appreciated in marriage is not to say, I'm leaving this marriage. It is to say, this is what I want. Are you willing to do these things? You didn't do it before, but at this stage, the me that I am now cannot deal with this kind of thing. It gets on my nerves. So I went to Abuja and I usually the phone call all of that, and I sent him. I say, Oga, I would like for you. I can order the food. I'd like for you to find a really nice food and order, and they should deliver to me to eat as my dinner in the hotel. Sort it. He won't think of it by himself, but I know I would like it. So I asked him to do it. He did it. The food arrived. I ate the food. I was blessing and thanking him. And it was like he would never have thought of it. I said, yes, but now that you know, when I am in a different place and I'm like, I'm so tired, I'm hungry, that's your cue to find food and ask me what I like to eat and give me, because they don't know either.
Sometimes.
So there was, I watched the movie.
Some of them don't.
I'll come to you. Let me pause for a second, because in that situation, a woman is advised that if they don't give you food, go and find a restaurant and eat yourself. That's advice. That don't wait for because you didn't demand it before. Today that you want it, instead of insisting, because if you insist on it, your own husband accepted to do it. Other people, like, are you okay?
So that's the way you will have the conversation.
It's not like me. Maria, go and buy your gift yourself. Why are you waiting for gift? You didn't collect gift in 20. Why are you asking for gift at 45?
So
go and buy your gift yourself.
So that you have explained what I was saying earlier, which is it's really about the leadership. So, and the last caller that said it's not about the woman that knows her worth, but who she's married to. So does the person understand her worth and her needs? So let me just use Maria's story as an example. You say as a young bride, there's so many things you did not do, and you recognize that leadership because the realities on ground was obvious. You know, we needed to put money aside for other things. And you did that not only because it wasn't because you lacked an awareness of who you were, but you realized what was the circumstances and you put that. Now that you're both able to afford it, yes, there comes a period where we now get used to a certain way of life. We forget, we tend to see both men and women, we tend to take each other for granted. The ones that we love, we see every day, we take them for granted. Is it not Mariah? She'll be fine. Is it not Ramatu? Good. But someone outside, you know, we would give that person even better, you know, more respect. So the conversation now here is, are we having a conversation now? Leader and wife or husband and wife, are we having this conversation where I'm explaining to you, this is what I need now. These are circumstances today and this is how I would like to, you know, be treated. If the conversation ends up as, I don't want to hear it, this is how we do things, then there's a problem with leadership. The person is not listening. The person is, your partner is not listening to you. Your partner is not putting you into consideration. And that's what I said from the beginning. It has nothing to do with the husband or wife or leader or follower. When you are in a marriage or whatever, in a partnership together, there has to be a partnership where you recognize that we're here for each other. There's some things I'm willing to put aside because we have to do something. But when it's time to do my side, please don't say, we're not doing it just because I said so.
But, Mariam, they said something that, I'm trying to find the Yoruba version, where you've not started this something we're not used to doing. We never used to do it before. Suddenly you're now changing. Like, I understand you're changing, but come on, you can't take us back. We've built a foundation on you being subservient, me being the leader. We built a foundation, and our family is happy. The children are happy. Everybody's happy. So when did you, because you're now finally realize yourself, you now want to now disrupt what we have built? The family. Do you get my point?
I understand you, but because that person is refusing to grow up. Exactly. Thank you. Because growth has to be mutual. Both parties need to be open to it. Once one party is not willing to grow, there is a crisis. When you marry a bank executive and your bank executive becomes GM and then he becomes CEO, you are not the same person. That woman needs to. There are many cases where they say, politicians say, the person that my first wife cannot be first lady, so they bring in someone that can be a first lady. That's failure to grow. So
on whose part? The
on the part of the woman, on part of, because they are questioned about that. Speak English very well, dress up properly, and the person refuses to dress up well. Then they will now start. There's problem. If the topic that Maureen wrote, which is the common saying, women who know their worth don't last long in marriage, is because the men married to such women are not willing to accommodate and grow with the worth that the woman has. Because you marry a small girl. When my husband married me, there's a 10-year gap. I was 25. He was 10 years older than me. He's still 10 years older than me, but but you know, like, it's right now.
I can't relate, but let's go.
Like, it was different. I was doing makeup, you know, he's made money, he's done publishing, he's broadcast. I had no boka. I was coming up as a makeup artist. That was the person he married. I have changed in the marriage. So if he refuses to accept the changes that have happened in me, then he is the one putting our marriage in crisis.
Okay, let me pause you for a second.
Because I cannot remain the same person. I can't remain the same 25-year-old girl.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks for calling. You're live. Hello, Paul.
Yeah.
Sorry for keeping you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Good
You are
morning.
very, very wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
I'm fine with you people. Your views is great.
Thank you.
Your views are always great.
Thank
Let me just contribute on this very particular topic you are talking about now. the topic there, let me just change it for the person a little bit. It is women who look at marriage as a contesting ground that doesn't last in marriage. If a woman come into a marriage with a notion, this is what I want to get inside that marriage. Whenever I get in that, whenever the woman is in that, look to get out from the marriage. It's supposed to be union between the two. Having ideas, etc., between the two. Everyone has a reason of being marriage. It is a problem for me. Because it's supposed to be all for all. Thank you very much.
The audio is not so clear.
Mr. Paul, I really want to hear you.
It's women that see it as a contest here.
Like it's a competition. So for me, I would say most importantly, communication. At some point, you find out that as you are discovering yourself, you find out that the way you communicate too has to change. Because you can't continue the way you've been communicating from the past. You continue communicating like that. Okay, guy, see you. This is what I feel. This is what I want to do now, and this is what I want. Explain to him. If he doesn't get it, pause.
Explain again.
Continue until you people are on the same page.
Wow.
It is when you people are not on the same page. That is when.
Yes. We see some husbands. There's a guy. Yeah,
there has to be a time limit now. How long will we continue telling you over and over again?
There's a guy that I used to know back in the day when I started Your View many years ago. I think Your View was maybe 2 or 3 years old then. This man, his name starts with K. I won't mention his name. Hey, me, him, and his wife and my husband, 4 of us were together in the car. The 2 men were in front, the 2 women were at the back. And I was talking to my husband, I was saying, is Mariah still listening to you? I mean, can you? Yes, that was this exact word. I was like, how does it
are you still subservient? That's the only way to say it.
And my brother,
is Mariah still
that kind of thing.
Because you use it more, it's more suitable for children. Like a child outgrows when your child does not listen to you anymore.
Submissive or something like that.
Submissive.
So he was not asking my husband. I think my husband was driving and he was
obedient,
right there in my presence. Because my brother was like, because they were trying to have a conversation. Yeah. So before I start the conversation, let me be sure that your wife is still, she will not protest against it. So I was like, well, yeah, of course, and and so after we all go home, and I said, well, what do you mean by that? I had to understand what you mean. I know that guy, I had to say to the car, you know what? Yeah. But I remember the guy, I remember the conversation. Because for him, before, it was important to be reminded that your wife better be submissive, because if you want to have this thing conversation, let her be, not come and scatter it, because I see her talking on the show, on TV every morning. Maybe she got that same energy she has. She got to use it in your house.
Yes.
And I think so, again.
Yeah, so traditional marriages, traditionally, for me, I believe marriages benefit the men.
Yes,
as just as I said, historically we're meant to be pets, but this marriage with the man, man and his wife is really about taking care of the man. This marriage is set up to make sure that the man is taken care of, that everything that happens within that home is according to his will, how he wants it. And because of that, anything that would cause a disruption in that home or a disruption in the way that it benefits him, he won't take it. So you have that where a man would sort of fight back. And I see that people don't see it that way. They just see it as a woman who is unwilling to be submissive, or a woman who is ungrateful or anything. It's just that the man has to, some of them recognize it, that they have, all of a sudden they have this power because they are the husband in the house. Now a man who decides to look beyond this traditional way it is and recognizes that his wife is his teammate and that we do this together and we make decisions together, he has to have a different mindset. Some things he has to consciously take his eyes off some things that people have, will call, maybe he's being a woman rapper or he's not listening. He has to deliberately close his eyes to it, because you'll have friends who ask questions like you have said, are you sure your wife is still subservient? Because you will try to do it on your own, in your own small space, in your own community. But when you go out, there are men out there who still feel that traditionally marriages should be like this. But I also believe that we have reached a certain point, right, where we're seeing men understanding that they have to change, because the women who understand their worth are not taking any, they're not taking any message anymore. They are standing by their rights. They are demanding what they want, and they are doing it. See, we tend to look at women who are doing it poorly, but there are women who are doing it respectfully, who are expressing how they feel, what it is that they want, with kindness.
Yes.
And we even get your family involved and say, help me speak to this person. Many times some men want to do it, but they are afraid of what their friends outside will say, oh, they finally broken you. But you have to change that mindset. That's the only way that
there's a perspective I like.
You can move forward.
You guys have not really answered this question I asked earlier.
Okay.
So when a woman is submissive to her husband and is subservient and accepted the role
for a long time,
and the family has blossomed under that guise, and they've grown, the kids are now university. Now, mommy is now 50. She's now coming to find herself. Now, what can be interpreted as in this age is that, oh, now you're going to be abandoning daddy, because daddy was used to you being the one to feed him and clean him and, to make sure. But now you're finding you want to travel on a boat cruise with the girls of the 50. You're going to Dubai. You're going, and you're leaving your husband, and they're wondering, you're disrupting the home. You're disrupting the family. Why don't you allow things to stay as it was? Be at home, be with me. It happened with my father-in-law. I used to understand why my mother-in-law couldn't come to take care of the kids, because she was so used to just taking care of daddy, because that's the role she's only known, and she's only willing to accept. So my question to you, that an independent woman is going to be seen, or a woman who has found her worth, is being seen as disrupting what we have, what has worked.
But that's growth.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's
worked. No, that's growth.
How is that growth? That is disruption.
No, it's disruption to you, because it's disruption to the man, because the man.
But the children have benefited from that structure.
But how about the other person who has made the sacrifice? So
one-sided.
if you have reached a point where you understand that this is my teammate, now is the time to focus on her. Even forget about being 50 or being 60. There are some times in families where a man, there's a particular example of a man who, in the beginning of their marriage, everything the woman had to do, was stopped. And they had to work really towards building his business. And they did that, and they built the business. She forgot everything. Just take care of the kids, whatever you have, even whatever she had, they added to that business. They, things started looking up. And he said to her, now it's time for you. Now, where the problem will be is if they have now achieved what they need to achieve, and he says to her, still maintain how you are, because that benefits me. You have to have, you also as the leader, you need to recognize circumstances have changed, and now we need to look to this person. What are your needs? We have looked at mine. What are your needs? It's when people are selfish that we have a problem. I know this particular example of this subservient person that you're talking about. I know someone personally who has been subservient, but she's gotten to a stage and she's trying to change it. And there's nothing wrong with her changing it. You just need the man to look at all the years that she's been subservient and say, okay, what can I do for you now? So that you can grow. Is when we talk about these issues, when we talk about this, we only see it on the side of the woman has just rebelled. She's a bad woman. We don't look at it from the other person. If it was with our children, we'll see it differently. Okay, so when we are raising our children, we are putting in the best for them, we are making sacrifices for them. Then they get to a point, we know that they'll get and they'll fly. Then we'll say, then imagine, instead of allowing them fly, you stop them from flying because this does not benefit me anymore. Yeah, so and that's how men need to see marriages. That is not about holding people down or controlling people. It's that it's a tit for tat. Today is your turn, tomorrow is my turn. And when we sit down to have a conversation, let's have a conversation that progresses us both.
So I like the fact that you ended it with saying that let men, you give an advice to men, because in this our present society, it's almost unrealistic with most men. Because most men believe that when a woman starts, when she starts discovering herself, I know of a lot of women who had plans. Like, for example, some women, I know of someone who had a plan and said, okay, she was going to raise the kids, do everything, but when she gets to a certain age, the kids are all out of school, she's going to pursue her career, she's going to pursue, improve herself and everything. Now that she has decided to improve herself and make herself better, the man has decided to rebel and say, no, I don't want you to do all of these things. I want you to, I think that if you start going out of the world and everything, you are going to become, I won't be able to control you. I won't be able to tell you what to do and everything. So because of that, he has just been, he starts misbehaving, he starts behaving somehow. At some point, he will now say he doesn't want the marriage because she has started discovering herself. So, you understand?
Yeah, what you said is very true, but you know, just because I like to balance things, when Mariah asked that question from the perspective of the, it's from the perspective of the woman, and I mentioned earlier that a lot of women are reacting to trauma. I hope we know that men too are reacting to trauma. And the fact that the man is saying stay in the house is because the man is scared that if he allows you to do everything you want to do, you don't need him anymore, and you can choose to walk. And then how would he survive? But he is not willing to admit that. Rather, the ego takes over. He is also, they are also said, just the same way you have several stories of women who have aunties that suffered in marriage and did not get anything in return. There are also several stories of men who paid school fees. They paid school fees,
did everything.
They paid for masters, they encouraged their wives to work, and the woman became a big madam, and the woman no longer like, so what are you? Yes, I'm like, oh, yes, your accent is, you can't follow me to this meeting, or like, oh, you're not dressing very, very nice. This your palm slippers. As in, like, then they grew apart. So the conversation should not be around how do we, how will this woman become so big, or if she has become big, she will leave the marriage. It is that we mustn't allow one person to continue on a trajectory without growing together on that trajectory. So if your wife is attending courses, you too attend a course. You should expose yourself to knowledge as well, so that you are able to equally meet each other. And counseling is a powerful tool. Why do our men not really like going for counseling? Let us talk about this. Women attend conferences back to back. I was telling my husband this weekend, he has to attend Get Up for Parents. That's tomorrow. And he said, he was like, I said, when was the last parenting course you attended? Are you not a parent? Have you been a parent before? Do you understand how to be a parent? Like, it's not like you've done it before. All of us are learning, but me, I'm attending online program, physical program. You, none. This one, you need to go. You have boys, they are growing. So we need to have this conversation. It's not an easy conversation to have, but we need to let our men on TV right now, the men watching, you need to gather that knowledge so that you will not feel, your ego will not speak when the woman is spewing knowledge that you have no idea about.
So going back to
it's not rebellion, it's selfishness.
It could be a bit of both.
So the final question is, so women who know their worth, do they last in marriage? They can't last in marriage.
If they have the right partner.
With wisdom.
They can't last.
Wisdom and handle
when you say wisdom,
they have wisdom.
They have wisdom. We need to ask the men, would you allow the woman who knows her worth? Would you be able to stay married to a woman who knows her worth?
Let me read the last paragraph that she wrote. She says, self-assured women aren't against love. They are against disappearing to make space for someone else's ego. True love isn't about endurance or sacrifice. It's more about equality and respect. If she finds a partner who values her light, instead of asking her to dim it, that's where love begins. For me,
why does the word equality trigger men?
We can take on the
that word, once you just say equality,
see you tomorrow.
Sorry, it triggers them.
I see you on Monday.
Monday, you're pigeon tomorrow.
Already? It's already Friday.